You're listening to the Chartographers.
Everybody, you are listening to the Chartographers. It is a music-loving podcast for music-loving people where we take every single album by a particular artist and we rank it worst to best and just forget about the rest. It's just, memories lost in the sand of time, whispers on the breeze. That's all it is, the rest. And guess what? Today we are tackling a very distinct, very unique artist, or basically a group that basically defined what art rock and dance and world beat and also so many other different genres are in one place. That's right, we're talking about the one, the only, one of the top 10 groups of all time where the lead singer sounds like he was struck by lightning as a child. That's right, guys. We are talking about Talking Heads.
Woo! Yeah.
Tom Club for nasty. So, Talking Heads formed in
Don't call them that.
Yeah, by all means. That is very offensive.
David Byrne will be really mad.
Yeah. So, formed at the Rhode Island Institute of Design back in the mid-70s.
Like
yeah, exactly. So David Byrne, Chris France, Tina Weymouth, and other people. They basically all form up the Talking Heads, and they were
Jerry Harrison.
I mean, technically,
AKA the member with the most co-writing credits. Just saying.
Just putting that out there, exactly. Who remembers Jerry? Some people do. We all remember Chris France. Yeah. He shouted out a lot of things during, Genius of Love.
That's true.
Hey! Jerry,
I
can you stay behind the drums, please? Thank you.
James Brown!
So, but Talking Heads, in a very short amount of time, they started out kind of as these quirk pop rockers, kind of with the post-punk new wave scene that Blondie and other people were doing at CBGB's out in New York at the time. But then, as time went on, they got weirder and stranger and more different. And we are here to talk about those albums and to rank them, because that's what we do. That's what we love. We're along for the journey. We already know there are some people that are very passionate about very certain elements of Talking Heads. But boy, let me tell you, no one is more passionate than the people we have in studio right now. That's right, guys. Of course, there is always me. I am Evan Sadi. I am an editor over at Pop Matters. You probably know me as the host of this podcast. And if you know me as the host of this podcast, then you know the number one person that we got right over here, the Brian Eno to my David Byrne. That's right, guys.
Yeah.
Taran O'Reilly.
I love that.
Yeah.
I will take it.
Also, Brian Eno, notorious asshole. Just FYI.
Yeah, kind of a dick.
Yeah.
Kind of a dick.
Yeah, but
Taran's not a dick.
Yeah.
Taran's not a dick,
Generally no.
Like most of 95% of the time.
It's been known to happen.
There's been moments
maybe
of heat.
83% of the time.
But of course, and the other person that is here with us, oh my goodness, this has been a long time coming, let me tell you. She is a company member over at Matter Dance. She's the director of development over at New Millennium Theater Company. She is also, you may have heard her on our dear friends over at Film Enthusiast. She was on their Disney Ranking podcast as well. Very, very good friend. Allie Keirn is here!
Hi.
How you doing, Allie?
I'm great. I'm super excited to be ranking my favorite band with two of my favorite people.
In all
Can
of
I
them.
be like the Tina Weymouth to your David Byrne and Brian?
Absolutely. You're more talented than Tina, though. We heard.
I don't know. I fucking love that bass player. Guys, come on.
But
The way she moves her hips.
Tina Weymouth taught herself how to play the bass in freaking 6 months.
That's true.
Yeah,
She learned how to play the bass because they needed a bass player.
Yeah, and she was like, okay, let me see if I could... Guys, come on.
because she was essentially just driving the band around to gigs. That was her initial role that she did.
Mm-hmm.
But then she also
That's
did
where
write
we were
wordy
going
rapping
anyway,
hoods,
so.
so I'm just putting that out there as well.
Yeah. Well, listen, we don't talk about some things that Tina
Some
did.
things just don't talk about.
Exactly.
We'll get to that in the happy hour.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Yeah,
Are the unhappy hour?
yeah, so don't worry. But again, as you guys know about this podcast, it is all talking, just head. And also on top of it, though...
No.
Yeah.
You fucked that one up.
I'm aware, that's fine. But listen,
No one's giving head in here, guys. It's cool.
But hey, listen, now Talking
At least
Heads,
not right now.
When we're talking about their albums, the thing is that they have kind of a linear discography. Basically, if you talk about their studio albums, it's pretty straightforward. Of course, we have Talking Heads 77 in 1977. More Songs About Buildings and Food, the first collaboration with Brian Eno in 1978. Their gradually more world beat Fear of Music that came out in 1979. Their big iconic one, Remain in Light from 1980. The kind of the pop hit album, Speaking in Tongues from 1983. The much more Americanized REM-ish sort of kind of Little Creatures in 1985. The soundtrack to the crazy movie of the same name, True Stories from 1986. and their last album, Naked, from 1988. Now that's a pretty good run. They don't have EPs or anything else like that. Where we talk about qualifiers in terms of what we are and are not going to rank, this is where it gets interesting though, because we have kind of the ultimate qualifier, which is I know we got to talk about it because essentially, Stop Making Sense is the big elephant in the room. Now, for those who aren't aware, 1984 they came out with a concert film. Their tour was a very innovative tour where they kind of start out from just bare bones basics and build up a whole band from scratch. And directed by Jonathan Demme, and it's a fantastic movie. And for a lot of people, that was the mainstream introduction of the band. But when we're talking about ranking songs, albums, things like that, they're just doing songs previously on other albums. So in many ways, people view it as a greatest hits, an iconic thing. But also, it's a live album too. And traditionally, we haven't included live albums.
We haven't included live albums, and if we tried to include it, then we'd also have to include the name of this band as Talking Heads, which is a similar idea. And we don't do live albums.
Executed as
we
well,
don't
but
do
a similar idea.
Right.
Yes.
But there are some people that still say the name of the band is Talking Heads. They're a little bit scrappier, a little bit better, a little bit more energy in their step too.
They're a little bit more broken, is what they are. Let it be known, though, that though we are not covering Stop Making Sense, it is not only the best of compilation, so to speak, but it's also the best version of all of those best songs. And I believe that they're all slightly faster than they are in the album version, just in general.
Yeah, I would say there are a couple exceptions to that. There are a few Stop Making Sense songs, especially the biggest hits, where I really do, especially at this point, I think the album versions really have some elements that are missing on the live versions, for
fair.
Burning Down the House, Psycho Killer.
Yeah.
But we are gonna talk about this album a fucking lot in the happy hour
It's what we do.
because it has to.
Goodness.
Because we
gotta get it out of our systems.
Exactly.
But also, we don't want to do it right now because then it'll take a long time before we start talking about actual albums.
We'll get emotionally exhausted is what it is, guys.
Exactly.
We need to go on a journey with this album, and we need to focus on ranking these first, because we're just going to spend ourselves way too soon.
These albums are seen, the live albums right now are not seen. And we're going to change that up. That's what's going to happen. So listen here. 8 albums. We are going to rank them together. And the thing is that, and I will say this honestly, coming into this week, I don't have a very clear idea of what number 1 is going to be just right off the gate. And I have a feeling we have our own opinions. We're going to debate. It could go any which way. We're open to other arguments too. But you know what we're going to do? We're going to start with something really special. Special guest.
Yes.
Allie. 8 albums, 8 spots. Number 8. What would you say is the worst Talking Heads album?
So for me, it was the opposite. It was very easy for me to pick my number 1. My number 1, if anything, through re-listening to these albums, it reaffirmed my choice and my number 1, and so I'm happy to get there. But for me, the number 8, the worst of the Talking Heads discography, has to be more songs about buildings and food.
Ah, that's interesting.
That is my pick for number 8. It
Now,
is just so disjointed. I don't see its potential as a playthrough album, something you would want to just put on and do shit to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because every now and then, every third or fourth song, you're just what the hell is happening?
Right.
And I love David Byrne for that, but I feel like he refines that later in his career.
Yeah.
And it becomes
Right.
much more palatable.
Yeah, exactly. The experiments, you're oh, this is a pretty odd song structure, but
Yes.
you're pulling it off.
You're doing it, Peter.
You're doing it, Peter. Whereas, on this album, I totally agree. It is also my pick for number 8, just because it has what I would say are 2 of his worst songs in Artists Only. Oh, no, never mind. I was thinking of a different album. One of his worst songs, Artists Only, is just...
It's pretentious as hell.
It's pretentious as hell.
Wait,
and
I'm sorry,
also,
did you just call David Byrne pretentious?
well, the whole discography is pretentious as hell. But this song specifically is it's unlistenable. His vocal take makes and there are some decent things going on in the in the arrangement of the rest of the band, what they're bringing to the table, but his vocal take just...
It's so distracting and it's so horribly annoying.
It literally goes, I don't have to prove. And you're like, no, thank you.
But, like, context-wise, here's the one thing you need people to know. When Talking Heads 77 came out, it was this fairly minimalist affair. Like, it is, like, sometimes just sounds like, even though we know Chris France, is a drummer. I wouldn't even call him a great drummer, but he's a drummer, certainly. And the thing is that, like, it's basically, like, very minimal beats, like, mostly acoustic, some electric guitar, and just David Byrne front and center. Like, that's it. Yeah. It's a very minimalist album. So the fact that this single, Psycho Killer, kind of got a little bit of steam is actually kind of insane and amazing that happened.
Yeah.
What's significant about More Songs About Buildings and Food is that this was their first collaboration with Brian Eno, who, of course, is this eccentric, crazy, brilliant, genius-level producer who, with this album, because he produced this and Fear of Music and Remain in Light, with this album, he starts... There's not a lot of crazy new production techniques that are kind of on there. It's a little bit more full-bodied than 77, certainly.
Right.
The biggest thing is that Talking Heads 77 was compiled from a bunch of songs throughout the years. If you look at the writing credits, it's primarily David Byrne did everything except for like one or two songs, and there's a co-write.
Here, there,
Exactly. Here, there's a lot more of the band coming into play, and also structurally, there's a lot more to appreciate here because, like, even With Our Love, it kind of has like different like moments, kind of like these angular different parts to it. Like it's like a like a 3-part suite than it is like a traditional pop song, and I can appreciate that. But like. Go ahead.
Didn't like that about that song. I felt like it was like
too disjointed?
3 different songs that they were like, I kind of like this part of this song, and I kind of also like this part of this song.
Hungry,
so why don't we Frankenstein this shit together and make a song?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will also say that the first track on the album, Thank You for Sending Me an Angel, is never ever the song that I think it is. When I see that title, it's never. I'm thinking it's going to be something melodious, but it's so like bum ba dum ba dum ba dum ba dum ba dum. You can walk like me. I'm like, oh, this is not a love song.
Yeah, I know.
Interesting.
Exactly.
My bad.
Yeah, and the thing is that I'll be 100% honest. Of course, the big thing the big takeaway here is that their cover of "Take Me to the River" pushed them in the top 40.
Yeah, that was their first actual bona fide hit.
And the thing is, it's weird because it sounds like it doesn't even belong on this album. Like for all of the angular kind of like sharpness to the guitars that they have there.
That's very true. To the extent that when you said it was on this album earlier, I didn't believe you, even though I've been listening to this all week in order. I was still like,
are
no,
you sure?
That can't be right.
No.
But I also, spoiler, this is another song where Stop Making Sense improves it vastly.
Oh yes.
Because the tempo's still pretty low. I mean, it's a very nice song, but it doesn't really like grab me. And I think that's the real reason I put this album at number 8 is because it doesn't have any songs where I go, oh, this is among the best things they've written.
Yes.
I can certainly appreciate The Big Country. Like, it's a fine song.
It's fine.
Right, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
I think Found a Job has grown on me. It used to be...
Yeah, it has grown on me too.
But I'm into it. I also know a really fun cover of Warning Sign by Local Natives. Ooh. So I have a fondness for that track as well. Even though it definitely is full-blown early Talking Heads, it's pretty disjointed.
Yeah.
But it's kind of, especially if you listen to the lyrics on that one, it's going for that. But yeah, it unfortunately can't save the album.
And listen, I'm not gonna be the hard, more songs about buildings and food stand by all means. If it lands number 8, I'm not gonna shed a damn tear, let me tell you. But I just want to throw my pick for number 8 out there because I think it's a bit of a hot take. I think people would be surprised by it. But let me tell you about my feelings about Fear of Music. Because that is an album where there are some genuinely brilliant songs on there. And the thing is, of course, we all know Life During Wartime, certainly, that is one. And I know people have mixed feelings about Heaven. Memories Can't Wait is very much, it almost sounds like the first time they really discover what rock is. In more the traditional open palm, chord structure, there's a little bit more flang to it as well. And the thing is that even Drugs, such a brilliant elliptical closer that feels unlike anything else.
Are we talking about Fear of Music or are we talking about Buildings and Food?
No.
He was saying he moved on to Fear of Music.
Yeah.
Your number 8.
Yeah, and the thing about Fear of Music is the fact that these songs, like, I feel like they are, especially Life During Wartime, which I know is very much a hit in its own right. There's a lot more brilliant moments on here, but every moment of brilliance is balanced out by one of the worst things they ever fucking did in their goddamn life. Let me tell you. Okay, Paper, holy fuck. Animals, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Electric Guitar
No.
really makes me want to rip my goddamn fucking ears out.
Electric Guitar is like rough.
Yeah.
It is rough.
I hearing your argument for this, like, I am willing to concede to you that album be placed at number 8, just because you are absolutely right. There are far more redeeming qualities about more songs about buildings and food.
And, like, I could take a
I'm also easy to argue with. Because
No.
I'm gonna usually just be like, I see your point, and that's valid, and I changed my mind.
I'm sticking with my pick though.
Okay.
Because the thing about Fear of Music is that yes, consistency wise, it is less enjoyable.
Yes.
However, it has Izimbra on it, and I fucking love Izimbra.
That
And
Philip
it
Boutique
has
beat, yeah.
and it has Life During Wartime, and it has Heaven, which is not my favorite.
Yeah.
But I think it's solid. As
I feel
far
like,
as,
I feel like
ballad,
there's a great version of Heaven that another artist has yet to record.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Heaven.
Yeah.
Oddly
That's fair.
By the way, David Byrne is not in the studio. I want to clarify that right now. It may seem like he just walked in.
It's
I believe it. And that's the
somehow
thing.
that joke is still funny, even though I've heard you make it every time someone sings.
About
Yeah.
anyone.
Yeah.
I would
shout
also
out.
like to say though that on Fear of Music, Cities has very much grown on me.
Yeah.
Yes.
Very
Cities,
much grown on
yeah.
me, and
Even
and
that
it's not
alternate
just,
version on the 2004 re-release is pretty solid too. I like that. Yeah.
And it's not just the backing track either, even though I think that during the verse, the backing track that they have created is like
Yeah.
very innovative, really interesting. But then that hook, find a city, find myself a city to live in.
Yeah.
And I get that, but again, even with that, and even with the kind of blasé feelings that we have towards more songs about buildings and filled, Jesus Christ, Paper.
No,
oh my
here's
God.
the thing, though. I had blasé feelings about buildings and food, but at the same time, I really love "Take Me to the River," their version of that. There are a couple of songs on here. I might even fight for "Thank You for Sending Me an Angel," even though it's never the song I think it is.
Right, yeah.
It's still a good song when I hear it.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's
I'm
a hell of a way to
pleasantly
open an
surprised.
album, too. Like, when you hear it and they're just... Yeah. It's got the shuffle where it's just like, oh, this is not Talking Heads 77 at all, thank you.
Yeah, you're like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
you guys did some work. You did some work.
Yeah.
But that being said, if we wind up putting Fear of Music at number 8, more songs about buildings, it would have to be number 7. Or
Yeah,
vice
but here's
versa.
the thing, though.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
Taran and I are pretty set in our ways, so it might come down to you, Allie.
I would just like to say one more thing.
Yeah.
Say it.
about this suite of albums is that, like, on Talking Heads 77, they come out, the first half is pretty rough, and we'll get there, but then on the second half, they have a really incredible run of songs, and I think that is because, they'd been a band for a couple years before they actually put this out, so David Byrne had a catalog to pull from, and
Yeah.
they recorded the best of what they had to prepare. Whereas I feel like on More Songs About Buildings and Food,
This was their sequel. Oh my God.
titling it More Songs is like a little too applicable.
Yeah.
Like it really
Yeah,
feels like
it's on the nose.
It's on the nose, and
But they're being
they're
like
not,
quirky and self-referential. They know
okay,
it's a
sure,
sophomore
Okay,
album.
whatever.
but it's really
Yeah.
not. It. I don't see any
They're being artists
evolution
only.
from More Songs About Buildings and Food. Like I don't see like. Clearly, the same band recorded both of those albums. Like I don't see, even though Brian Eno was brought in, and
There's
you
a little
hear
bit of muscle.
you hear the
Not a
boost
lot.
in budget because
little bit,
Psycho
yeah.
Killer was a bit of a success.
Yeah.
But it's still I feel like it's missing the strength of songwriting that you expect from a Talking Heads album that you find on every album after this.
Except when they wrote electric guitar.
Well, right, no, but I mean, you have on Fear of Music, you have some shit, but you also have Izimbra Life During
taking
Wartime.
chances.
Like you
Yeah,
have
yeah, no,
you
that's
have
fair.
two huge iconic, like if you're a Talking Heads fan,
Yeah.
you have two really iconic songs on Fear of Music, and you don't. There are none.
Here's what I
on
will
More
say
Songs.
as the tiebreaker
Yes,
for number
please do.
both the originator of number 8 and now the tiebreaker of number 8.
She has
I am
many
not going
titles.
to base my decision on any of the arguments that you just made, and instead I'm going to base it on the album that I think has the best original Talking Heads song. So I'm excluding Take Me to the River specifically here.
Okay.
And I'm going to stick with more songs about buildings and food because I think Life During Wartime is the best song on these two albums.
Yes.
And therefore, I feel like I should stick with my original More Songs About Buildings and Food at number 8.
Okay.
Excellent.
You know, and
And
that
so
is
it-
totally okay.
it is.
And then, but then that we're in agreement that Fear of Music
And
should
she
be
was.
next.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Yeah.
That's
Fear of
an
Music
easy-
is number 7.
Okay, that's
The two
good.
albums are just so similar. It's almost...
What? No, I feel like they're very sonically extremely different in terms of quality. That's a
I
different.
feel like you
yeah.
were really upset by certain songs and that attached to you.
No, because I mean, literally, the terrible songs on Fear of Music are unlike terrible songs of the rest of their career. Because like, Naked is kind of a fleeting album. It's a colorful album. It's like this very. I wouldn't call it deep by any means.
But there's
like,
not a bad song on it.
yeah,
No,
there's
that's
right.
true.
There's lesser songs on it by all
Right.
means, and even like, and even again, like Talking Again '77. There's kind of this nervy little energy to it. It's just kind of like, even if it's not consistently brilliant, there's still like moments of just kind of like punch and like this is a new voice that is emerging that at least I can appreciate more than that. But that's just me. And hey, listen, we had the number 8, number 7 debate. It went great. I'm happy myself. But
Congratulate.
right, I know exactly. But let me just tell you something right now. We're at number 6. Taran O'Reilly, co-creator of the podcast. Where does your heart lie?
Where does my heart beat? Not this genre.
Yeah, so I'm torn between two things.
Okay, you can.
But
throw them
I'm going to say
out. Okay.
True Stories.
Okay.
I like True Stories. I think that it has some great moments. I'm obviously like Wild Wild Life is a really fun song, but it kind of has a similar problem to More Songs About Buildings and Food for me, in that it's missing an iconic, incredible Talking Heads song. I think, well, and so before we get too far into this,
Yes.
I really do want to say, Evan and I watched True Stories this week, and Allie has seen it before.
I have seen it. It
And
has
I
been
think-
a while, but I have seen it.
And I think that we can all agree that the cast versions of these songs are superior in almost every case.
Absolutely.
Even on Dream Operator, which is sung by this like woman
that song.
who doesn't really have a very strong voice. It's very wispy, but she sings it and gives it her all.
It works in
and
the context of the film
She pulls it
so
off.
well.
Yes.
Whereas I feel like on the album, it's just like,
I like the album version of Dream Operator.
Yeah?
I really do, yeah.
okay.
I find it ethereal.
And I feel like, here's the thing about True Stories, is that I really feel like, because if you watch the movie True Stories, like, there's kind of this debate about whether or not David Byrne actually gives a fuck about the people that he's portraying in there. Like, are you actually, like, do you care about kind of Southern rural life, or are you just relentlessly mocking it? Like, it's kind of this fine line of, like,
I think it's the latter.
Where-
I think
Yeah, and
it's
as a
pretty
Southerner-
obvious that it's the latter.
yeah, as a Southern lady.
As a Southerner, y'all, because I'm from North Kakalaki.
Uh-huh.
I
Look for your maps, kids.
I'm gonna have to agree with Taran on this because of that feeling that watching the movie gave. There's a reason that I haven't watched this movie in a long time. I was like, oh damn, he ain't being nice to us, y'all. Bless his heart.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, like, literally no Southern person is portrayed well in that movie.
Yeah.
Right.
Everyone is, like,
And it
Like, it's a look at the
insane
freak
or
kind of thing.
selfish.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
totally a look at the freak kind of thing. And in spite of that, it manages to have better versions of, like, from the cast.
Yeah.
It managed to have better versions of the songs than David Byrne himself could
But
produce.
like,
the
I
John
associate
Goodman.
these songs, even in the album version, I associate those songs with the feeling of watching that movie and just
Yeah.
being like, damn, y'all ain't being Christianly right now.
But, and the thing
Well,
is that,
he
like...
was not one.
Well,
so-
that's very fair for David
And I feel like,
Byrne.
because we got to remember, this follows Little Creatures, which was, very much kind of a more accessible version of the band, if we were to put it lightly.
Yeah.
And I feel like, just his songwriting here just took a weird turn. I think Hey Now might legitimately be one of the worst songs that he ever
It's weird,
wrote.
no?
It's pretty
Yeah.
weird. Well, and I would say that this is another one where, like, I kind of wish that I had a 4-minute version sung by, like, a choir of young boys who aren't great singers. Like, in the film
Yeah.
when they're just walking around, they're like banging sticks on like tire hubs and
yeah.
shit. And just like screaming the song, like that was more enjoyable than this version where he's trying to deliver it earnestly.
And they even put out a version of this, like sounds from True Stories, which had some incidental music and one or two additional like cast versions of there. But like the John Goodman version of People Like Us still lost to time. And for
even
the
though
record,
it's incredible,
John Goodman
Incredible.
sing People Like Us, I think, is a criminally neglected song, and I feel like his version of it is just so goddamn good.
Well, and his voice fits the instrumentation so
Yeah.
much better
Yeah.
because
It's kinda like little
it's
country
produced
shuffle.
like
Yeah.
a full out country.
Yeah.
It has slide guitar.
We don't want freedom.
I remember my note for that being like, I'm not okay with this twang thing. Like album version. And it's the thing about this one is that it's not that I like hate them for their portrayal of Southerners in that movie. It's that this album in general I'm fairly indifferent about. And just that vibe of the movie sends me enough over the edge to
Right.
be like, I remember that time y'all weren't too nice.
Yeah, and then even and the thing is, there are still really good moments on here. Like honestly, especially again speaking about cast versions better than the original. Radiohead, you know the
Yes.
kind of Bendito number.
Oh
there.
my gosh.
Yeah.
I'm so happy. The cast version of Radiohead is on the deluxe edition from 2004.
Yeah.
And
There's one other
It's-
song that's the
it's
cast
it's
edition
Papa
is-
Legba,
Yeah.
which is
Actually,
fine.
that's one where I like the band version better.
Yeah,
It's-
yeah.
It's just it's a song.
Yeah.
No, but the cast version of Radiohead is phenomenal. Like when I first heard the album version of Radiohead, I was like, I kind of can't believe Tom York liked this enough to name his band after it.
I was
And
really
then-
wondering and hoping that that's where.
Yeah.
But that
Yeah.
means
That
you
is
know
where
he
he
saw
got
the
it.
goddamn movie,
But-
which
but-
makes me happy.
But he definitely saw the movie and saw the original because I feel like even in like vocal delivery on Pablo Honey, he sound like
Stop
you can
stop shining.
sure, yeah, that whatever
Yep.
that
Uh-huh.
was.
You guys, it's not Tom York. He's in the studio with us right now.
Believe it or not, he's not here.
Guys, I heard he did a podcast about me. Tom, please, come on, let's get out of here.
Was that your Tom York?
There was more of like
I like
drunken
how
Beatle.
every British man you do is
It's
just
the
Paul
same.
McCartney.
It's the same.
That wasn't Tom York. That was like Ron Fork.
That was
But that being said,
Dad jokes brought to you by Allie.
happy hour minisode after this. That being said, though, and the thing is that, like, and I would say True Stories, the opening song, Love for Sale, which sounds like David Byrne's terrible idea of what a pseudo hard rock number sounds like.
Yeah.
It's like it's almost like his Americana like old time rock and roll
Yes.
thing.
In re-listening, my note for that one was, well, this is aggressive.
Right, but I wouldn't call it good. But again, there were still moments on here that I really liked, to the point where it's like, number 6, like, I kind of, in my mind, I kind of want, like, a place, maybe 2 places higher. Like, I can appreciate this album.
2 places?
Maybe not 2 places.
Above what?
That ain't happening.
Well, the only other thing that's coming to mind right now, I feel like for you, Taran, the other one you were debating in your mind head was 77.
It was, yes.
Yes. And my pick would kind of be like, I feel like we're in this rut where True Story 77 and Naked, I think, are kind of rubbing shoulders
No,
a little bit
I
together.
like Naked.
Okay, cool.
I feel like Naked is a really good playthrough album. Naked doesn't have a whole lot of like, what, does it have any like,
Doesn't have
Big
any
hits,
great
guys?
songs. No, it has...
No, it has, I mean,
it's still a really just a good
It's
vibe.
solid.
Yeah,
Oddly
it-
enough.
it's
For
very
as much as
solid.
they're
It's a feel-good
going
album.
through at that time in their
Yeah.
career,
Yeah.
it's still a really good album.
It has the most, I'd say, color out of any of their
yes,
albums. Like,
absolutely.
It has
takes
horns.
it makes great
has-
use
yeah.
of horns. Well, and I especially like Naked because after the success of Speaking in Tongues and especially Stop Making Sense, they then put out Little Creatures, which is the first time they sound like the 80s to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
first time they
Ooh.
start to sound like they're contemporaries.
Like a pop band.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then I think they continue to sound like a pop 80s band on True Stories. But then with Naked, suddenly that is ripped away again.
Yeah.
And it sounds like, Naked sounds like an album that could come out today. Like, it
Yeah,
sounds
I
like
don't think
fresh,
we should be talking about
crisp
Naked yet. I think we
production.
should be talking about Naked in a couple of albums.
I mean production, not production.
Not a couple, but we can talk about it a little bit later. Trust me, I know. But that being said, 77, I kind of want to talk about that a little bit, though.
Yeah, is
Yeah.
that your number 6 pick? Are you gonna say that?
genuinely, my number 6 might be Naked. I'm just telling you right now. But that being said,
Okay.
I do want to hear.
Alright.
I do want to
we are
hear.
going to talk about it.
I do want to hear your thoughts about 77 first.
Okay, so yeah,
The
77.
debut.
77 is rough. He is a
It's distinct.
He's a no holds barred terrible vocalist
Yeah.
on this album. He fucking sucks. It's hard to listen to.
But he has some great ideas.
Except for on like 3 of the songs.
Yeah.
I would say he gives like a passable vocal take. And on everything else I'm like, shut up.
Shut your mouth.
Even if like I think that the first 2 songs, Uh-Oh, Love Comes to Town and New Feeling, are both pretty solidly written. I think that if they had been released 3 albums later, I would like them. But I think he sounds terrible. And then it gets even worse from there on Tentative Decisions and Happy Day.
Jesus.
So it's just fucking rough. And then it has No Compassion, which I kind of like.
I actually
it's
really
clear,
like No Compassion.
he's
I kind of like
clearly-
Tentative Decisions a little bit, though.
I don't like Tentative Decisions.
I also feel like this is an album where, because it was so bare bones and scrapped together, if they re-recorded this with a producer, I have a feeling that there would be a lot more
Yeah.
body
Well, right.
to some of
Sure,
this.
for
And I'm
sure.
sure that, the reason the vocals on more songs about building and food are better is not because he had improved a ton, because it was, recorded less than a year later. It's
Yeah.
because Brian Eno was like, no.
Wait a minute.
Can you do that maybe 8 more times? What I was going to say about No Compassion, though, is that I enjoy it because it sounds like him playing around with that Led Zeppelin song structure.
That's fair.
That sort of not acoustic verse in the classic sense, but where the verse and the chorus are in drastically different time signatures, and then there's a hard guitar breakdown, and I'm like, okay, yeah, this is nice. And then I think that's the start of side B is No Compassion.
I think so.
And it's
because they sure as aren't going to open Posey with the book I read, because fuck that.
This
song.
is a pretty one of the largest contrasts I've noticed between a side A and a side B of an album. Side B is fucking great in my opinion. Besides the book I read.
Yes.
Don't
Don't worry about
Yeah,
the
don't worry about the government is great.
So much fun, and I love First Week Last Week.
Yeah.
I and that wasn't a song that I was familiar with before this week doing research, and I was like, oh,
Yeah.
hey.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then obviously it has Psycho Killer, and I would even say Pulled Up is really fun.
Pulled Up is a great
Pulled Up
song
is-
Pull
too,
me
yeah.
up, 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 up,
So
up,
it's
up,
2017.
up.
A while ago, Chuck Berry passed away, and in all of the online exhumations of people talking about him, there was this interview that was pulled up from 1980 for some magazine that did a thing where it's just like, hey, we're gonna play some songs for Chuck Berry and kind of see what he thinks about him. And so it was just kind of other pop stuff, and Chuck Berry, he just doesn't give a fuck, and he was just talking about none of these things are new, all these things they're they're just doing rock and roll. It's all rock and roll reappropriated. You could throw a synth or whatever on it, and he just had stuff to say about each one. And one of the songs they played for him was Psycho Killer by Talking Heads. He's like, I like the song. There's a pretty good structure to it. Although the lead singer, he sounds like he's nervous. It sounds like he's got stage fright. And I'm like, you're not entirely wrong there, Chuck Berry.
Chuck Berry and my 20-year-old coworker Stella had very similar things to say about this particular album.
Yes, I want the insights of 20-year-old coworker Stella.
Because while I'm not quite ready to rank Talking Heads 77 yet, because I do admire it as an album, and I feel like, we've got an album or 2 to cover. We'll see. We'll get there.
Right. We'll get there.
But Stella, the day that I chose to start listening to this band at work, I warned her, Stella, I'm doing a podcast about the Talking Heads, so you're gonna hear some weird shit.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry about it. She's like, it's cool. My dad listens to weird shit in her little cute 20-year-old way. And I start with Talking Heads 77, and I'm about 3 songs in, halfway through Tentative Decisions. Yeah. And little nugget Stella looks up at me and goes, yeah, you're right. This is some weird shit. Then fast forward, do we get to Psycho Killer, and much like Chuck Berry, I'm sitting here pontificating on the juxtaposition of that song and the happy-go-lucky upbeat twang of the guitar versus what he's saying, which is please don't fuck with me because I might go apeshit and kill everybody. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking about how macabre that is, and just sitting there pondering that, and still out of nowhere is yeah, I like this one. This is pretty good. I'm like, all right, Stell.
Yeah.
You and Chuck Berry, dude.
It was weird though because when that song came out in '77, that was also the Son of Sam summer in New York, where there was those killings going on, and so the song came out at the same time, and a lot of people were at the time were just like, "Who the fuck is this band trying to capitalize on a psycho that's murdering people in New York?" And David Byrne's like, "I wrote this song, for his."
Why is David Byrne British? That's like the third time you've done that. David Byrne is not British.
That's almost an intentional thing. Listen, I got my terrible David Byrne impression. You got your terrible David Byrne impression.
I'm not even gonna try.
Evans David Byrne is British.
I at least put myself out there with a terrible David Byrne impression. I don't throw myself out for judgment by the podcasting listeners at whole. Leave us a ranking on the iTunes about my David Byrne impression. Give us 5 stars. But hey, listen. So that being said, I feel like, the thing is that, like, True Stories, like, it's an album, like, I hold on to just, like, a couple of songs. I really do genuinely appreciate them, but it's also, levied out by these terrible things, including Puzzle and Evidence, which is just... Nah. But yeah, I do understand, but that's the thing. 77, I feel like there's a lot more to it, but it's almost like they're kind of hand in hand, where the good stuff that is on both of these albums is kind of a little bit offset by the bad stuff. It's not as bad as, say, Fear of Music, but it's like, it's very much lesser material.
Yeah, but I would say that the better stuff on Talking Heads 77 is better. It's
the
stronger
only
songwriting.
song that I really like from True Story is it's like a wow. That's it. Life.
But then again,
David Byrne is so fun to scat, you guys, because like you just have to make mouth sounds. That's it. Match the harmony and
Any
make mouth sounds.
Any mouth sound you want. You're like, bam, it's Talking Heads.
Nailed it.
Well, I saw some YouTube comments today about Psycho Killer. We talked about Psycho, and it was just spelling out the lyrics. Psycho Killer, qu'est-ce que c'est, fa 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 fa, oh yeah, A-H, A-E, A-H, A-H, like just all the different letters he's saying. It was just like, oh my god. Lots of sound. By the way, podcast listeners, thank you for enduring our various primal sounds.
There are a lot of primal sounds.
Thank you for sitting through my mouth sounds. And by the way, my David Byrne impression is pretty sweet too, but I only do it when he's singing. So if you like mine,
my singing impression is completely different. It's great.
I know, it's not British when you sing.
I know. So, that being said, but also the other thing about True Stories is that I feel like it'd be a different conversation if we were talking about an album full of the cast material versus the band.
It would be an incredibly different conversation.
And I feel like that's like something as a sticking point with me. So just for the sake of it, let's go ahead. Let's throw True Stories at number 7. And the thing is, I still
You mean at number 6?
Number 6.
We already had something
one of the
in
numbers.
We already picked.
Listen, I'm British. I don't know numbers, so you know their crazy metric system. So, guys, let's look at number 5. So, listen, went ahead to that. Now, the other question is, Allie.
Me again?
Yes,
okay.
You.
All right.
Like, great, because he's saying 77 and you're saying...
I'm saying 77. I thought Evan was going to lobby for Naked.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he is.
Yeah, no,
I'm going to lobby for 77 because of all of the things that we've already said about 77. And in the words of my coworker Stella, yet again, this is some weird shit.
But that being said...
Talking Heads is weird shit. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, yeah.
It all is.
No.
But sometimes it's amazing weird shit.
And sometimes it's just weird shit.
And we can agree there's some amazing moments on 77, right?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Where's the amazing moment on Naked? Because it ain't Mr. Jones.
Listen,
it ain't
I
Mommy,
feel
Daddy,
like
You and
Naked
I.
as an album is not an amazing... It doesn't have an amazing moment because it's an amazing experience.
Yeah.
It's front to back.
Amazing is a strong word.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
But it's front to back a great playthrough album.
Right.
Like, it's something you can put on and just, like, forget about what you're doing.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's the thing about Naked is that I would say there's maybe, like, 2 songs on there that I legitimately go,
Or, like, genuine
I
takeaways.
want to skip this.
Oh.
Yeah.
Whereas, honestly, there are some albums that I would rank higher than it where there are more songs that I want to skip.
Mm-hmm.
So
But the good moments,
what I'm saying.
yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, Naked, it's very colorful. It sounds like they really figured out their production shit, and it sounds incredible.
The other thing about
it's
Naked,
crisp.
too, is that David Byrne went on to pursue a lot of world music after that. And
I mean,
in Naked,
you hear that very
Yeah,
early.
You hear it a lot, but I feel like in Naked they refine it and they really start to use it in a way that's more advantageous to what Talking Heads does.
I actually feel like with Naked, the biggest thing about it is I feel like in some ways he's actually trying to course correct after True Stories in terms of like the score, because especially the last two songs, Bill and Cool Water, they tonally and texturally actually sound like nothing else in the Talking Heads catalog. Especially Cool Water, kind of this little like open air, kind of like this watery, kind of like this like like echo guitar thing.
I enjoy Cool Water.
And the thing is that it actually sounds kind of like this is almost like a score soundtrack thing. And also,
it reminded me of Explosions in the Sky.
Yeah, no,
That's
I think
what it
that's
reminded
accurate.
me of.
Okay.
And also, because I'm a fucking idiot, I didn't realize today, David Byrne has a fucking Oscar.
Oh, so he won an Oscar for Last Emperor.
Yeah, for best original score with Reichi
I had
Sakamoto.
no idea
I had
he
no
did
idea.
that score.
Yeah, but he really fucking did the.
I mean, obviously he did a good job.
I remember the scene where he's like running, and then he's like through all the ribbons, and then he gets up to like the edge of the podium, and then he sees all the followers just like out there in the courtyard. Yeah, just like it was a very epic movie. But he did that. I had no idea about that.
Oscar.
Exactly. So anyways, but that's the thing, like Naked, there are some moments that feel genuinely cinematic on here, but then when I hear like the kind of sort of family drama of like Mommy, Daddy, You and I and like the Democratic Circus.
I don't like that song.
Which one?
Mommy, Daddy, You and I.
Yeah, no, I don't like that one either.
Yeah.
But that was one of the like two where I was like, I'd skip that. I actually really like Democratic Circus.
Mm-hmm.
I really like Democratic Circus
I
too.
especially appreciate it because, as we've mentioned, this is a very joyful, warm, lush album in general. And Democratic Circus has this grit, this paranoia, and this darkness to it. It's it's a nice, and I especially like that it's right smack dab in the middle. It has 5 before it, 5 after it, and it serves as sort of like an intermission for all of this.
Shift.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't like Big Daddy.
I love Big Daddy.
I love Big Daddy
I was just about to bring that up.
Yeah.
I really like Big Daddy, and I feel like it's one of the places where, because there are a lot of horns on this album.
But they really come to the fore on that.
Really, like, I think that they're used most effectively on Big Daddy, not because it's the best song on here, but because they, like, the horns specifically elevate that song. Like, it's a nice song, and then it goes to great because of the way that it builds and flourishes towards the end.
Yeah. What bothers me about Naked is that Tina Weymouth didn't play a lot of bass on this album. She played a whole lot of alto sax on this album, but she did not play a lot of bass. And I missed it. There were a couple of songs that she did play bass for, and I believe Big Daddy is one of them. And I legitimately took note of, like, the sound of the bass in those songs. Like, oh my God, Tina's back on the bass. Praise Jesus.
Yeah. I didn't even realize
that bothered me about that album.
Fair.
And Blind. Here was my note on Blind, which is the opening track to this album. Legit just wrote, who invited James Brown? Because that song
my
is
gosh.
so, like, old school.
You're so right.
And his voice on
it's
that
not
song.
the crunge, but I'll take it.
His voice on Blind. I actually really dig Blind.
I love Blind. But I straight up was just like, this is Talking Heads? What?
And I feel like it actually reminded me of some of the unrestrained vocals that he has on the early albums we've ranked already, where he's just like screeching basically.
Yeah, but he's so much better at it now.
But he's so much better at it now. Right now, it doesn't sound like, you don't know how to sing.
Painful.
It sounds like, you're using this for an effect.
David Byrne,
yeah, exactly.
David Byrne is this weird singer that actually has found and strengthened and better his voice as time has gone on.
Yeah, we watched a performance of him on
Letterman
with St. Vincent this week, just, to get a change of pace. Yeah. And he sounds amazing.
Well,
now that he's all gray, but he's been singing his whole life basically, so his voice has improved a ton.
He's had time to train for sure.
Yeah.
I had the distinct pleasure of seeing him perform live at Bonnaroo in 2009, and I can say, with my own 2 little ears, that he sounds phenomenal at this point in his career.
Yeah,
phenomenal, and that tour that he did with St. Vincent sounded phenomenal too. And I just appreciate the theatricality of David Byrne at all
Which
times.
he's always had.
He really
I
has.
mean, when you watch
But now he
the
has
concert
the money
film,
to do whatever he wants.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have 18 dancers and chairs behind me. Oh, okay, cool.
British
That's what
David
you're gonna
Byrne
exactly.
is back, you guys.
But, like, but he has like dancers on stage like backing him up, and he's got like, and the thing is like he's not making. I'm sure he's not making a ton of money. But you could also just tour on the fact that he's David Byrne. I brought up his IMDb page after I found about that Oscar thing, and holy shit, like his songs get used in
Everything.
That's the thing. You say, like, you don't think he's making that much money, except that Talking Heads, even if they weren't, like, the hugest, most commercially successful band, they had 2 albums that went double platinum.
Yeah.
Stop Making Sense and Little Creatures, and they are now so notorious. They've spawned so many bands that don't copy their sound, but are clearly inspired by.
Yeah.
And their music gets used everywhere. Like,
Yeah.
I hear them in pop culture, in movies and TVs, in public,
A lot of
all
movies,
the time.
yeah.
And so he's clearly making plenty of royalty money there.
Yeah.
Like,
So that being said,
yeah, where are we?
we are
What's
at our
happening?
number 5 spot.
Oh, right, we're debating 77 and Naked.
I'm still going
I have
with
to go
77.
77.
All right.
And then Naked right after that.
Yep.
I would
Okay.
say.
As long as we're doing that. And listen here, at this point in the podcast where we have number 8, more songs about buildings and food, number 7, Fear of Music, number 6, True Stories, number 5, Talking Cat 77, number 4, Naked, we're at this
Good
point
signal.
now where we are down to our top 3 albums, and you're going to hear what they are right after this. 1 second! And we're back. I hope you enjoyed those 5 seconds of break. It was 5 hours for us. We took a day's rest, and now we're completely back, ready to go.
I took a nap.
Showered.
I showered. We also just did a quick re-listen of the entire rest of their entire discography, so we're good to go.
Yeah,
So
refreshed.
that being said,
Those were all lies.
yeah. We're down to our top 3 albums for Talking Cats, which includes Remain in Light from 1980, Speaking in Tongues in 1983, and Little Creatures from 1985. And guys, I don't know about you. It's pretty fucking obvious what number 3 is.
I think it's pretty fucking obvious what number 3 is, but I would think that we would all 3 think so,
You're
but
right.
we might not be on the same page.
Here's the thing. Let's just do a thing real quick. Can we agree it's pretty obvious what
The
number
1,
3
2,
is?
3, say
I want to
that.
do
Yeah.
that. Yeah, exactly.
No, I'm torn between 2, and it's probably both of your choices.
Okay,
All right,
Allie and I, let's count to 3.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3. Little Creatures.
Creatures.
Thank you.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
oh,
no,
my God.
I'm fine with that.
So let's
I love
briefly...
Little Creatures.
Ah,
I love it. I feel like it's their pop party album. You know what I mean? Like, that's why it's so high up for me.
it was their
It
mainstream
It
acceptance
is a
album.
fantastic playthrough album. Like, if you're having people over and you want music that is upbeat and is, like, just a great album to listen to start to finish, Little Creatures is great.
But
it's
here's
a great album.
Here's the thing, though. Like you
It's
say,
not as great.
No. And the thing is that, like, I would say that it's interesting you call it the party album because we're Speaking in Tongues is the album that has all the hits on it, like
Yes, it
all the
does.
big hits. But the thing is that I feel like Little Creatures, and we mentioned it in the first half of just how it's kind of this accessible, and it's weird to say it in this context because they're from fucking New York, Americanized version of what their sound.
Yeah.
Because after getting so infected with world beat influences and other things they brought in, especially on Fear of Music and Remain in Light, here they're very much kind of like, here we go, we can be generic, and poppy too. That's totally okay. We could do that.
But they're also good at it. It's a good album.
I would say it's a good
solid
album.
album.
I mean, it
Yeah.
made it to number 3, guys, of 8.
This
So
is-
it's a
this
good
is true.
album.
This is
Yeah,
true.
I know. And the thing is, like, and she was.
Not my favorite.
Yeah.
Really?
Like, a lot of times the big hits, and we'll get to this when we get to our top 2, but the big hits of the album tend to not be my very favorite on the album.
But man, Road to Nowhere though. That
Road
is
to
one of
Nowhere
my
is so
top,
great.
maybe my
I mean,
top 5.
I think that
Talking Heads
like
songs ever.
most Talking Heads fans are gonna put Road to Nowhere somewhere near the top. Like,
Yeah.
it is just a objectively phenomenally written song.
I also
It-
really love Walk It Down.
Yeah, Walk It Down is a lot of fun for me. It's not my
And Television
favorite.
Man. The last
Wait,
three.
what? Television Man, really?
I do like Television Man.
When it gets to that weird choir, like, non-vocal, like, oh, thing at the end, I'm just kind of like...
It's
Yes.
just kind of... It's just
And
a
it's the
little...
second half of the song.
Yeah, you're
bland
right. I
for me.
usually divert course when that happens
Yeah.
because it is at the end, the
Right.
tail end of the song. So when it happens, I'm like, great song, guys,
Yeah.
way to go.
and then
we
you move on. Yeah.
Yeah. But that's my thing about Little Creatures, is that the title of the album comes from the song Creatures of Love, which is like, and the thing is that we've been talking about the musicality of all this, but we haven't really been talking about the lyricism of what it is. And I think
please talk
because the thing is that David Byrne is a fascinating songwriter, and I think part of the reason it's a love-hate relationship for me with him, because he is very much, he's not a human. I think it's pretty obvious he's an alien, a British alien who has come here on this planet.
He's not British,
I know.
Evan.
But the thing is that all he does is he just observes things. Like, he sometimes will, like, stumble upon something profound through observation.
Yes. And what I love about Little Creatures is that because of his profound realization, like, that song, as he's talking about sex and seeing sex doesn't make me feel uncomfortable, that song's making me feel uncomfortable. And I have to stop and examine myself for a second and be like, wait a minute. Listen to David Byrne, Allie. This is a totally biological function. He's writing about something pretty profound here in a really almost juvenile sort of way. But it is a song, it's not one that I revisit often, but it is a song that makes me stop and go,
Yeah.
You're making an interesting point here, Mr. Byrne.
And the thing about Creatures of Love is, sure, it has some interesting points, but it also, as I mentioned earlier, Creatures of Love is really the first song that you hear in their discography when you're listening chronologically where you're like, this sounds like shitty 80s Fleetwood Mac. Like, it sounds like so many other generic, like, drum bass guitar bands
Right.
Fair,
that are also making music at this time, and especially it sounds like bands that started in the 70s and are still making music in the 80s. That is the sound that they fell into. And so it just doesn't do it for me. And a lot of songs on this album fall into that trap. Perfect World.
Yeah, I agree.
Stay Up Late, I enjoy.
Yeah.
It's another one of those lyrical gems that we were just, starting to talk about the lyricality of the Talking Heads versus the musical content. And I think Stay Up Late, for me, it's just such a fun song for what it's about. Like, I don't want my baby to sleep. He's so cute. Let me play with him for a while. Let's stay up late, kid. Come on, kid. Come on, let's stay up.
Yeah.
Don't put him down.
Right, and the thing is that, like, I feel like on this album, especially when you hear that, like, kind of those, very simple guitar lines of, and she's do 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 boom boom boom. That's why when I said that in the album listing, it's like this is kind of like their REM album because, like, it's just this very placid guitar based, kind of straightforward. But the biggest problem I have with it is that aside from the fact that they trimmed down the horns, they trimmed down a lot of the world beat, it's kind of very straightforward. The thing about this is that I feel like, especially with everything that came before this, and you can kind of see this a little bit in everything afterwards, this very much feels like their album where they start looping themselves lyrically.
Yes.
Because I feel like David Byrne, he was always pointing out crazy different sociological or sometimes even pathological things, and here he's just kind of, again, Creatures of Love, a man and a woman get into a house and they make little creatures that come out there. Like, yeah, you talked about this before, dude. Like, I feel like this is the one album where it starts feeling a little bit like, okay, Talking Heads, we get it. Like,
I feel like, too, this is the album where they stopped taking risks.
Oh,
Yeah,
100%.
absolutely.
They were like, we found this commercial success. We know what the equation for that success is, and we're just going to keep repeating that because it's done us well. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that Little Creatures is probably the beginning of the end for them, too.
Oh, absolutely. It's a turning point.
Yeah. It's a great album, and that's a damn shame because it is such a sad turning point in their career, and you can totally... It's almost their sellout album, guys.
Yeah.
Like, as much
it
as it makes
absolutely
me feel
is.
bad to say
Well,
it.
and it's because...
But it's number 3.
It's great.
They found more success than they ever had found before with Stop Making Sense, which was the year before this. It was 1984, between Speaking in Tongues and Little Creatures.
Yep.
And suddenly they had a platinum-selling album. And so then they were like, oh, well, now we have a public that wants to hear from us.
Yep.
And so
we better give them the sounds that they want
so
to
it
hear
sounds like they
instead of
were appeasing the
experimenting.
public. Yeah. And I almost wonder how much of that was David Byrne and how much of that was the band as a whole.
I wonder how much of that was Brian Eno.
But Brian Eno was gone by this point.
Oh, he was? I
Yeah.
didn't know that.
Yeah, he
left
worked on...
after Remain in Light.
Yeah, Remain in
That's
Light was the
interesting.
last album with Brian Eno, and he almost didn't want to come back for that because he didn't want to work too much with the same band.
Yeah.
He does like an album or two with each band, and then
Right.
he wants
With
to move
Coldplay,
on.
obviously.
Doesn't he work with you two a lot too?
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
U2 is where he went after
Got it.
He elevated the big leagues after that.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I was wrong. This had nothing to do with Brian Eno, you guys.
Let's just cut this out of the pot. Erase it from your memories.
you know,
Men
because
in Black pin it.
I think it's also between Remain in Light and Speaking in Tongues, Tom Tom Club had their heyday.
Oh yeah.
And so, you know, which sold just as well as anything Talking Heads had put out.
Right.
Like they were just as popular commercially. So I think that after then they saw success with Stop Making Sense, it's possible that they were like, "Oh, well maybe let's go to this more public friendly sound."
Let's follow that watered down sound.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So long story short, Little Creatures number 3, right?
Number 3.
That's,
Did we talk about The Lady Don't Mind though?
You can talk about Lady
Because
Gaga.
The Lady Don't Mind is like definitely one of my favorite Talking Heads songs.
And that's one where the
Alright.
whole band co-wrote that. Yeah.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
I hadn't noticed that. Yes,
Yeah.
I just think it's fucking phenomenal. I think that it has one of the catchiest melodies he's ever written, as far as like verses specifically, and just they all bring their A game there.
Nice.
Nice.
Well,
Alright.
now listen. That's nice, and nice things are
Everything,
nice.
yeah, nice is nice.
But we're not going to be nice now.
Nope.
Because guess what? We're down to number
It
1.
depends. We could be nice. We
And
don't know.
I know, exactly, because guess what,
We
guys? We're
don't
down
know.
to
Well-
Remain in Light and Speaking in Tongues, the critical favorite and the commercial mega hit.
I think we should just talk about both of them.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Okay.
All right. So let's start chronologically. Remain in Light. Now, again, with all the world beat shit that they were starting to try out on Fear of Music, holy moly, did they actually find a way to loop it into great grooves.
Yeah.
And Remain in Light, and this is something that it has on Speaking in Tongues. Well, again, Speaking in Tongues is very much the fact that it's between Remain in Light and Little Creatures is perfect, because it's this thing where, like, they're still a little bit weird, they're still a little bit kind of trying out things structurally, but they are also very much in line with like their pop instincts at this point. And their
Yeah.
pop instincts, because I feel like with Remain in Light, once in a lifetime, one of the greatest pop singles of the 80s.
Of maybe all
Maybe
time.
all time,
Yeah.
absolutely.
That song is so
100%.
brilliantly structured and brilliantly written and brilliantly vocalized. This is where we see David Byrne, who has been weird and difficult with his vocals for his entire career. On this album, he really, like, maybe on the album before this, he gets it. He's a little bit better vocally, but on this album, especially in Once in a Lifetime, he is brilliant.
Yeah.
All of his weird David Byrne idiosyncrasies really, really work for that song, and it is a brilliant pop song.
And the thing about Remain in Light as an album is that, like, it's heavy on the grooves. It's, very repetitious.
Yes.
It's very much, you feel the full band in force. Like,
There's
you
a
hear
lot
every
of Tina
percussion
bass,
element.
yeah.
You hear a lot of bass. You hear a lot of keyboards. More than when it's kind of like a smattering on the other albums. Here it's like all band, all the time, all at once.
It's a cohesive unit.
It's a
for
maximalist
sure.
pop
Yeah.
album, right? And it's for that reason that it's almost like you never hear this consistency again throughout their discography. They try other
Right.
things,
Yeah.
they try
Which
other
is
genres
why,
and things.
Which is
Yeah.
why these two albums are at 1 and 2. This is the era where they figured out...
They hit their stride.
They hit that world music groove-based stride, and that is why they still have so many massive fans.
Yep.
Is
Right.
these two albums and what
and
they were
Once in
able
a
to
Lifetime is
accomplish.
a beautiful, fantastic, phenomenal song, but I gotta talk about Houses in Motion.
Yes.
I love that song with every fiber of my being. I cannot help but dance in some way. I was late coming over here, guys, because I was dancing to that song in my kitchen.
Uh-huh.
So it's irresistible to me. And a lot of the songs on this album are the same way. They're irresistible.
Honestly,
once you get started.
Go ahead.
I love, and again, this was a track that I was not familiar with somehow, even though I know my dad had and put on this album, but Born Under Punches, The Heat Goes On.
That is such a
is
fantastic first
so
track, too.
much fun.
It really
That-
hooks you in as a first track of
and
the
that,
album.
That it's just like a single note, but that guitar hook that
It's
they
such
do,
an easy
it's
groove.
such an easy groove, and it feels like that specific guitar hook was something that then just like spawned so many copies, and
Yep.
that vibe that they're going for here, and that specific groove is
Yep.
like people like that became part of the sound of the 80s going forward.
And for sure, part of the sound of the Talking Heads.
Absolutely,
Going forward,
Right.
if not already a little bit before, but this was, I feel like, the album where they started to really solidify their identity as a band.
Oh yeah, this definitely more than Fear of Music. This
For
feels like
sure.
a band that
Yeah.
is in control of what they're
When
doing.
I think it's also the first time I'm pretty sure this is the first time that they brought in backing vocalists to record on the album.
Yes.
Like Izimbra is all the band shouting on Fear of Music, but
Yeah.
here on Remain in Light, on Born Under the Punches, and I think a couple other songs.
Once
they
in a
have,
Lifetime for sure, and Houses in Motion.
Yeah.
You can hear the textural like harmonies
Yeah.
from those vocalists that they brought in because they got smart and they went, guys, we can be doing more.
But also at the same time, and I know, Taran, you're not the biggest fan of this, but the spoken word, seen and not seen, the texture and the groove on that, like doing a spoken word song in the middle of an album is always a risky endeavor.
Yeah.
But you know what makes it work? When you make the music that's backing it profoundly interesting
Yes.
Yeah.
and moving. And that's the reason why that works for me.
I don't dislike Seen and Not Seen.
Right. It's not your favorite.
It's not my favorite. And part of that is, and it's funny because part of me likes this and part of me is bothered by it.
Yeah.
The Once in a Lifetime Houses in Motion Seen and Not Seen run share a chord structure, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And so, and it's especially striking in Seen and Not Seen. You as the song evolves and it's going in the second half, you hear, and I think it might even be like the same synth line that backs up Once in a Lifetime, and like I said, part of me really likes that because it keeps it moving. Yeah, exactly.
It's a through line.
Yeah, I guess I'm just gonna say that I like that.
Yeah.
It also reminds me of obviously this is not an influence on it, but it reminds me of Fire Coming Out of the Monkey's Head from
Gorillas.
Demon
on
Days.
Yes.
Yeah.
and it
Dennis Hopper.
and it totally, especially the way that it then moves into the songs after it.
Yes.
On that note, I actually, Listening Wind really grew on me this week.
Same here.
Yeah.
It's a mystery that I still haven't fully figured out, but I'm
Was
intrigued by the
not
mystery.
totally about it at first,
Yeah.
especially because I had just heard a song with spoken verses.
I would call it resistant. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. 'Cause then
You're a little
you're like,
resistant to
I
it.
don't know.
But then that chorus comes in and you're like,
Oh.
sure, there's wind in my hair.
I
and
can
there's-
take this journey.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it is such a journey because it's about and I'm gonna say it wrong, so I'm just not gonna say the name, but it's about a Middle Eastern man who's struggling with the effects of Western society in his country, and a couple other things happen too.
Yeah.
But and so again, that was sort of a thing where I'm like, I mean, I know you're into world music, I know that you're pulling all these influences, but on first listen, I was like, is this genuine? Like,
Yeah.
can you, as a white man living in New York, really speak to this experience?
And that is
But-
that is a constant criticism throughout his entire career too, because it's the Paul Simon question of just like, I know you're deeply in love and affected by world beat African music there, but are you the person to represent this? Especially when a white man is doing this, like you're certainly in a way normalizing it or introducing to an audience that may not normally be exposed to it. But then again, after Talking Heads, David Byrne then also opened up his own record label, Luca
Yes,
Bop, too.
that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
There's a fine line between like
Appropriating.
exploiting and
Yeah.
appropriating culture and actually working to
Advance it,
advance
celebrate it.
awareness
Yeah.
of the
Right.
culture.
Well, and I think that you can also, I think that you have to give him credit for, in both the touring band for the name of this band is Talking Heads and for Stop Making Sense, there's the 4 band members
Yeah.
who met in Rhode Island, so they're white, and then everyone else they hire is black.
Yeah.
And they're like, if we're gonna do this sound, we need to hire musicians who can really
who authentically know this sound.
Right.
But
Yeah.
also, we just need to get some amazing backing vocalists that are going to change
Oh my
the
God,
way
those
you
women.
see. Exactly. But we'll talk about that in a
After
moment.
show.
The other thing we need to talk about is this fine act of making flippy, floppy. I'm not sure if you're aware
Oh,
of this.
we're moving on to speaking
I
in
want
tongues?
to talk about it a little bit, too, because we spent a lot of time talking about Remain in Light.
Are we
Yeah.
going to rank them first? Or
No,
are we
no,
just
no,
gonna
we're
talk
talking about it.
We're talking about them
it,
first,
yeah.
and then we're gonna be like, all right, so what's number 2?
It's about to get very obvious for me. All of my favorite Talking Heads songs ever are on Speaking in Tongues. Girlfriend is Better is probably my favorite Talking Heads song of
Interesting.
all time. I've got a
I see
girlfriend
that.
with bows in her hair, and nothing is better than that. How does it get any more fantastic lyrically than that line? That song, This Must Be the Place, Naive Melody, as overdone as it is and overcovered as it is now, it is still such a beautiful and genuine love song.
Right, and when the covers always work.
Yes,
you're
they
always
do.
like, you're
it
always
doesn't matter
just happy
who
to
does
hear
it, because that songwriting is so brilliant.
Yeah.
Although the best one is when we saw Brother Tiger live do his amped up synth version of it.
That
where
was
it
a lot of fun.
propulsive, and that was fantastic. And I mean, I also like, it's one of the things where in interviews, David Byrne talks about how it's like, he likes songs about buildings and society and culture, but he doesn't, he knows about love. He doesn't want to write songs. He's talked about how when it came to Stop Making Sense, he only wrote one love song, and in Stop Making Sense, I sing it to a lamp.
Yeah.
And the thing is that, even with all of that, This Must Be the Place still isn't a love song, because it's kind of this very oblique societal, you're all just in a routine kind of thing, like, can we share the same space for a minute or two? It's just like, that's, it's kind of, a little bit of cynicism in there, but it's just such one of their most accessible moments.
It's so interesting how interpretations work, too, because I still adamantly believe that This Must Be the Place is one of the best love songs of all time, and I'm going to keep calling it a love song because of the line, I can't tell one from another, did I find you or you find me?
Yeah.
Like, there are a few lines in that song that are just a little bit more poignant than the blasé, like, yeah, you want to hang out for a second? Like, it's a little bigger than that.
Admittedly, I've never heard that in a pop song.
Let's share the same space for a moment or two, if that's cool
Well,
with you.
that's also a beautiful way of saying, let's
It
hang out.
really is.
Yeah.
It's a really understatedly beautiful way. But there are so many gutturally amazing songs on this album that have that, like, primordial, like, making flippy floppy, Swamp. I know how you feel, but tell them how you feel about Swamp.
Okay, Swamp is one of the worst fucking pirate shanties ever fucking made.
I'm gonna disagree with you.
You can disagree as much as you want. That will not change me an ounce.
I get it. I get
You gotta listen to that guitar.
Yeah.
That's the part of Swamp that hooks me in.
See,
and his primordial, like,
Yeah, see, that's my favorite part. The only reason I like the chorus is because there's a very famous O'Reilly story about this song.
Tell
So
it.
this was before I was born. My mother is a physical therapist, and so she was done with work, and she was ready to leave the hospital, and my father pulls up in the car with this song blasting, and he has my eldest sister and her 2 cousins who were born within the same 12 months
Previous
of each
guest,
other.
Bria Vale O'Reilly. Fall Out Boy,
yes.
Episode 14.
Bria Vale O'Reilly from the Fall Out Boy episode. And the kids are all hanging out the window, and they pull up and they're like, "Hi, we've come to take you home. Woohoo!" And my mom was like, "Nope," and turned around and walked back inside.
Wise woman.
So anyway, I of course I have a huge fondness for that song. I grew up singing along to it, but I understand why you don't like it.
Yeah, I get that.
And here's the only thing I will say though, because I think it's pretty obvious that when you think about the greatness that This Must Be the Place, and even when you think about kind of the wild, like, I want to say the wild plaintivism, which isn't even a word, but I still like using it for I Get Wild, Wild Gravity.
I love
right,
that song
like,
so much.
Yeah.
So much.
Was that the one I said?
The Gorillaz.
Yes.
Yeah.
Another one that
The white
totally
boy
sounds
reggae
like the
funk,
Gorillaz.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like the whole first Gorillaz album is that like synthy white boy reggae.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I when I first heard I Get Wild, I was like, oh man, this is
Here it is.
This is the nexus for so much, because this is so early. Like, yes, we just did the Led Zeppelin podcast, and yes, they did their own take on reggae, but it is not this
No.
thing.
Yeah.
And And it just keeps with the tone of this primordial, like, otherworldly grittiness
Yeah,
about
sure.
this album that I love so much. Like, it's just so
Well,
insane.
Especially when you, I mean, I was about to say the run in the middle, but it's the
whole
entire
album.
the entire
Moonrocks,
run.
though.
I would say like
Moonrocks.
songs 1 through 6, Burning Down the House, Making Flippy Floppy, Girlfriend is Better, Slippery People, I Get Wild, Swamp is just like, yes, there's this grit and there's like they
It's
have the
There's a
tapping
Afro
diversity
your-
through it.
Yeah.
they have the Afro beat in there, but it's also like
It's
all
not as
got
pronounced
this
as in Romain and
right,
Light.
and
Yeah.
there's not as pronounced, and there's also this like sinister bent
It
to
taps
most
into
of these songs.
like this deep-rooted, almost like childlike oddity that lives in all of our inner child. So this like, I just want to like get weird for a minute,
Right.
and
Yeah.
that's what this album does. And like, you also really hear it on Slippery People. Oh my gosh,
Karen needs to talk about Slippery People real
I will
What's the matter with you?
unabashedly say, Slippery People, especially the live version, is my favorite Talking Heads song.
Divine, yes.
Just phenomenal.
I didn't know it was your favorite.
It's
The live one,
I
yeah.
have decided
From the
that
bottom
this
to
week.
the top.
was
I
I
was-
have.
And but even when it gets going in that
Tina Weymouth's bass playing on this album, because there are so many
Yes.
of those dark, deep, like funky songs.
Right,
is
she has the
so
hook.
good.
Yeah.
Like Tina's playing the hook on like most of these tracks.
Yeah.
Because she's the first real sound you hear.
Yes.
And it's like
And it
that's
grabs
all
you
you
instantly.
that's all you need right there.
Yes.
Like the song could be worse than it is and you would still like it just because of these bass lines. And then you have David Byrne doing his whole like this is the perfect nexus between his pop sensibilities and the Afrobeat
Exploration.
Yes.
explorations of before, and even like the punk elements.
Oh,
you hear a bit of
yeah.
that in
Yeah.
his like vocal deliveries, and it's just
a
like it all
phenomenal
comes
marriage,
together.
yeah.
But would you say there's a song on Romain and Light that's as bad as Moonrocks?
Remain in Light?
Because Moonrocks, let's be real, that's
Yeah,
that's,
I would. I
that-
think
that's
it's called
the weight.
Seen and Not Seen.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's
Or-
what I,
or-
yeah.
Yeah, no, that one. Or I mean, obviously, honestly, on Remain in Light, the Overload
Yeah.
just doesn't. I
Yeah.
mean, it's just.
I keep waiting for my revelation of that song to happen. And it
I
hasn't happened yet.
just won't
I
come.
keep waiting.
not
I keep waiting
happening.
for something to happen in that song. Like
Right.
it could
Especially
be.
as the closing song.
Right.
You're like, end on a high note,
Well,
guys, and it's just
also-
so anticlimactic.
Also,
I don't hold
if
it
you're
against
not
that.
gonna,
I don't. Yeah.
if you're not gonna evolve the song in any way,
Yeah.
like let it be 4 minutes. Like we don't need 6 minutes of full guitar drone ambience.
So that being said,
Yes.
I think we can lock it in.
Deductive reasoning.
Guys,
Yeah.
number 8, more songs about buildings and food. Number 7, Fear of Music. Number 6, True Stories. Number 5, Talking Heads 77. Number 4, Naked. Number 3, Little Creatures. Number 2, Remain in Light. And the number 1 Talking Heads album, No Talking Just Head by the Heads from 1995.
Shut the fuck up, Evan. Stop squishing my inner child's dreams and tell the people what it is.
Number 1 is Speaking in Tongues. That is the ranking. But guys, let me tell you something. As crazy as a bait as that was, we have so much more to talk about. We barely even touched Stop Making Sense.
Which may be the whole reason that Speaking in Tongues is my favorite
That
album.
is true.
When we get into
Yeah.
the after.
Exactly.
But
So
that's
we got
for another
that. We
time.
got Tom Tom Club. We got all sorts of other things to talk about, and that is in the Happy Hour mini-so. But in the meantime, Allie,
Yeah.
thank you
Thank
for
you.
being here. This
Thank
has been
you.
phenomenal. Taran, of course. I mean, this is. I guess I just didn't realize how deep your love of Talking Heads was.
I mean, they are one of Ned's favorite bands of all time, and
Good
so
old Ned.
I mean, I have been listening to Talking Heads for literally as long as I can remember.
but not like in this full like.
Well, but I've been saying for years that Stop Making Sense is one of my favorite albums ever.
Of all time.
In my top
It's a
10
desert album
favorite
album.
albums ever.
A Desert Island album. That's what
Or
I'm
Desert
saying.
Album
A
album.
Desert Elbow album.
Right, like I could put on Stop Making Sense and just never get sick of it. And
Yes.
that's a little unfair because in a way it is sort of a greatest hits, but it's
No.
also just, it's the best version of, I would
That's
say,
what I
at
said.
least like 3 out of 4 of the songs
Yep.
on there.
So we're going to talk about all that. In the meantime, do us a favor. Find us on the Facebook, stalk us, and make sure that you say which album is better, and give us your own list. And also like us on Facebook, and rank us on iTunes, and find us on Stitcher. Do all the different things. In the meantime, though, catch us in the Happy Hour minisode. We're going to be a lot less lucid than we are currently. And let me just also say, keep on listening, because as always, you know that we'll be. See you on the next time, guys. See you. Goodbye. Yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah.
I'm pretty great.
Today, David Byrne has a fucking Oscar
Oh,
For
I
do-
didn't know that.
for doing the original score for Kundun?
For what?
Kundun? Or whatever.
Kunden?
Cunt Patrol, the movie?
Condoleezza Rice, the movie?
Okay, can you spell that for us?
Yeah, we're gonna...
Or you're just gonna Google
The
it.
magic of the
We're gonna cut this part, so...
Kundun.
Kundun. K-U-N.
Is that where
D-U-N.
Iron Fist trained in heaven? Oh no, that's Kunlun.
Yeah.